Hi, everybody. Kim Becker here with Mile High Huddle SI, and joining me is Chad Jensen. And Chad, Sports Illustrated's Conor previewed the Broncos 2021 offseason and urged the team to move on from Pat Shurmur and hire one of Kyle Shanahan's top assistants. So could you see this actually happening?
Man, I would love to see it. Could I see it? I would be stunned if the Denver Broncos make another change at offensive coordinator. But then again, if they end up moving on from Drew Lock, not in the sense of letting him go or releasing him or trading him, but if they make the decision that, hey, we're going to go a different direction, try and find a upgrade or a different option at quarterback, then I could perhaps see them moving on from Shurmur. But I don't think either are going to happen because I do think the Broncos are going to roll with Lock in 2021. Doesn't mean they don't tinker with quarterback a little bit and bring in maybe a more proven veteran fail-safe to kind of back him up. But I think the biggest thing for the Broncos right now, and it's the word that they've been using for the last 2 weeks, anytime the GM, the head coach, anyone talks, the offensive coordinator, it's consistency. That's the word that they're really focused on. And how can you really expect consistency without continuity? And that's one thing Drew Lock has not had as a high-level quarterback dating back to, his second year at Missouri. So I would love to see the Broncos go out and target a Mike LaFleur or a Mike McDaniel in San Francisco, one of Shanahan's coveted assistants, but I just don't see it happening this time around. I mean, let's be honest. The Broncos missed the boat back in 2017 on Kyle Shanahan. They had the chance to hire him. They interviewed him. He wanted the job, and they ultimately chose to let him go and hire Vance Joseph. They did kind of go back to that well in Vic Fangio's first season, going out and hiring his quarterbacks coach, Shanahan's quarterbacks coach, Rich Scangarello, only to then fire him after his first year as OC. So I don't know. As much as I know John Elway is drawn to Shanahan for obvious reasons, that core philosophy of his scheme that he employs, that's what made John Elway the most successful as a player back in the late 90s under Kyle's father, Mike Shanahan. But this time around, I really don't expect any bold moves in terms of the coordinator. I think the Broncos are going to ride this out, and it's, come hell or high water, 2021 is really the last stand of the John Elway regime.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned consistency, and one of the key factors of consistency is practice, and they didn't have offseason this year. I know we've talked about that several times, so hopefully looking into next season, they will have that offseason, they will have those reps, and that will help with their consistency, but I think it definitely makes sense to give them one more year, so I guess we'll see here.
Well, that's the thing that, with Drew Lock, they missed out on 1,600 or so or reps, I should say, between losing the OTAs preseason and then having training camp being kind of, janky, for lack of a better term. According to Pat Shurmur, this is his own words, they lost 14 to 1,600 reps. So they basically had to get those reps under their belt in a live bullet situation where the stakes are actual regular season games. But now they've got at least that kind of foundation established between Shurmur and Lock and all the different role players. Do you want to rip that out from underneath Drew Lock heading into his third year, or allow him to finally have the opportunity to build on a foundation? And that's why I think the Broncos are going to stick with Shurmur and in hopes of really providing that boost for Drew in year three and making him as comfortable as he possibly can and really providing the tools necessary for that consistency. And it starts with continuity.
Yep, opportunity, another key word there, but I agree with you that next year is going to be the big golden opportunity. This year, kind of hard to judge on. But Chad, as always, thank you so much for your expertise tonight, and we will talk to you next time.
You got it. Thanks, Kim.